My goal is not only to win, but like I want to excite Jon Jones. Yeah, I want him to look at me and think, I need to test myself against this guy and be excited about guys like me coming through and want to take that challenge.
I think Tom Aspinall is the biggest threat to Jon Jones' undefeated record. The dude weighed in at 258 pounds and moves like a goddamn middleweight. Most importantly, he has the ground game to back it up. He's lightning fast for a guy that size. He has the power in his hands. Like I said, he has the ground game. I mean, what is he bad at? Like, when you watch him fight, where do you see weakness? And more importantly, he's getting all these guys out of here in one round. Coming off a torn MCL, a year later, looking like he hasn't skipped a beat. Like, that's crazy to me. I'm so impressed, and he just exudes confidence. He's smooth. Like, I don't know, everything about him just seems to fit the bill. And I saw a tweet that said he could very well be the best prospect to ever come out of England, and I don't think I disagree with that. I can't think of anyone to put over him right now. I mean, obviously, like, you think of guys like Bisping, Leon Edwards, but Tom Aspinall has like superstar capabilities. Like, that's no disrespect to the other guys whatsoever, but when you look at Tom Aspinall, I see a generational type of talent, and I don't think there's an argument to be made against that. And we have yet to really see him lose in the UFC. This is great because I think that this win against Marcin Tybura, by the way, happened in like under a minute and a half. That's crazy. I mean, yeah, I guess you could expect that, but I think if we as fans expect him to get Tybura, whose game, he's a vet. I get it. He's a little old and late into his career, but we shouldn't expect a guy coming off a torn MCL to knock somebody out in under 2 minutes. Like that's just, he exceeds expectations every time he steps into that cage. However, that win, I think, sets him up for a fight against Sergey Pavlovich. As many of you know, Sergey Pavlovich is probably the heaviest hitter in the heavyweight division now that Francis Ngannou has left the UFC. But that ground game is a little suspect, and I expect Tom to test that. I also expect Tom to be able to stand and bang with him, and I also expect Tom to just be a little bit too fast for him, a little bit too rangy for him. No, I don't think it'd be an easy fight, but there's just something special about this dude. I almost expect him to win up until he gets that title shot. When they asked Jon Jones about the potential of fighting Sergey Pavlovich, he pretty much said, high risk, low reward. And by that, he means not enough pay-per-view buys.
I look at Sergey as just a huge challenge, but no one knows who he is. Luke Thomas said it best. He was saying that high risk, very low reward, where you could fight a guy like Francis Ngannou, get the whole world talking. It'd be worth the risk. It'd be worth the money.
Because as many of you know, a lot of his pay is based off of how many pay-per-views he's able to sell. And so much that depends on having a marketable opponent. I don't think there's anyone more marketable in the heavyweight division outside of maybe Tai Tuivasa, and of course we can't forget about Chris Barnett. I think the UFC has been very purposeful with him. They put him in the UK every time. They put him as the main event every time, and that's because they feel he has real star power and real star potential. And I mean, obviously I can't disagree. I'm here talking about him, but anytime he fights, I can't help but tune in. I think he quite literally exemplifies everything you would want in a UFC fighter. Now listen, I'm not a Jon Jones hater. I like him. But are we forgetting how he looked against Dominic Reyes? Against Ciryl Gane, he looked incredible. But let's not pretend that he didn't have the crazy grappling advantage. And you know what? It looked like Ciryl wasn't even prepared for that. If you fight a guy like Tom Aspinall at that weight, at that size, which we forget, this weight is not Jon's natural weight. I think he's naturally slower at this weight, and the film would back that up in that very little bit we saw against Ciryl. If there's anyone in the world that could beat Jon Jones, it's Tom Aspinall. Yeah, I still think Jon Jones would be the favorite, but I think a lot of people would be surprised at how close the odds would look. You know how many people say how important it is to have that it factor in the UFC. I think undoubtedly Tom Aspinall has it. The only thing he doesn't do is talk a bunch of shit to his opponents. Maybe that's because he hasn't had to yet. But as far as in the cage, he's quite literally the perfect prospect, and dare I say, the future of the heavyweight division.